All right, so this is going to kind of be like the second part to my What the Heck is Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro Up To video. Before I talked about Magic the Gathering and how that release schedule is bothering me, and now I'm going to talk about D&D and how where I think that they might be going in the future and why I'm concerned about it. Because right now, D&D 2024 just has a list of books that are copies of books that came out in D&D 2014, and I understand subclasses, things like that. There's my cat. All need to be reworked so that way they can work for the new system. And I say that I understand that, but now I'm going to argue with myself because they don't have to be. They really don't have to be. I think that newer content would be preferable at this point, and I think that some cool new modules and stuff would also be really important to get out. Because I was looking at their schedule, and we have the Eberron setting book, and basically a Sword Coast Adventurers guide that's coming out again. I think it's like Faerun Adventures thingy. And not much else that's currently listed as coming out in 2026. There's not even like a release schedule or anything. And that could be because they lost like Chris Perkins and them, and who went to like Darrington Press. But there's nothing for a D&D 2024 player to expect right now. And now I've been playing 2014 all this time, and I have plenty of content to go through. I know the system like it's the back of my hand, and at this point, I don't really have anything more that I need from Wizards of the Coast that I'm not going to be buying any of their new 2024 books or anything. So, this isn't really for me, but if I was a brand new D&D 2024 player, what would I be expected to learn and run right now? It's not like there's that you can go back and run the 2014 modules with the 2024 system, which is probably what I would do. Or you're expected to just kind of like write your own stuff. So here's what I think is going to happen and what I'm a little bit afraid of, because the next thing they're releasing is their Hellfire Club. I believe it's the Stranger Things thing, or did it? I think it came out like 2 weeks ago. So the latest thing they have is the Hellfire Club. And given that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast have been releasing for Magic the Gathering, more than half of Magic the Gathering sets are now Universes Beyond, which is whenever they take stuff from like outside sources like Spider-Man and Final Fantasy and bring it in, and now those are Magic the Gathering cards that you can use at standard in competition or just at your local game store. They have pre-releases, they have all kinds of events for these. I think that's what we're going to see with D&D in the coming years. I think their new release schedule will most likely include a good chunk of books that are just, like the Rick and Morty book or Stranger Things or a Final Fantasy setting book. And granted, I'm not against these things. I think having setting books that have key rules that would allow us to play D&D in those settings, like instead of you having to like copy it over yourself, is really cool and really interesting. I myself, it would be cool to see a Final Fantasy one. I would like that. Xenoblade, I like Xenoblade. I'd like to see that. All these different franchises, it would be cool to see how they would mechanically describe running D&D through them. But it is a little bit worrying for the D&D 2024 player, not me, who is just getting into DMing and wants content, right? Who wants to run just some cool modules, like we got our Descent into Avernuses, our Rime of the Frost Maiden, Lost Mines of Phandelver. I can just list off modules, but those kinds of adventures are really, really important, and I still expect that they'll be there. Don't get me wrong. This is my prediction that I think they will be doing a lot of out-of-universe stuff for Dungeons and Dragons, just like they are for Magic the Gathering. And I'm both here for it and totally against it, because I can see it from the perspective of like where I was when I started playing in 2017. And in 2017, Xanathar's Guide had come out. There was plenty of modules already backed up for me to look through. I bought Storm King's Thunder. There was so much. Well, I read through the entire book of Storm King's Thunder before I even freaking did Session 0. So I was I was really excited, and it was like this giant door had been blasted open, and there was so much for me to learn, and that was so cool. And I hope that 2024 players can still have this experience. I'm really hopeful for things like that, and you know what? Maybe they'll pull it off, and more people will start playing D&D because Stranger Things is there, and more people will start playing D&D because there's a Final Fantasy setting book or a Legend of Zelda setting book. And that's about where I'm at. I really hope that this works out for them because I love this game. I don't love Wizards of the Coast. I don't love Hasbro, you know, but I would still like to see the game I love so much show other people what it showed me whenever I first started out. And I would like for those things, I would like the game to succeed in that way. But if it doesn't, let me tell you, there's plenty of third-party material. I'll probably do a video about that coming up soon where I go over like, hey, check this third-party site out. Check where you can get all these maps from. Check out where you can get some really cool modules. Kobold Press. I love Kobold Press. That's about it though. I'll see you guys in the next one.